Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Charlotte Kavanagh about Grease: Rise of the Pink Ladies, going to be premiering on Paramount Plus. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, this is exciting. I'm sure it's starting to hit you now because with the premiere and the press and everything that it's coming out. But would you say it's been like kind of like a 2-3 month thing where it's starting to kind of be a realization that people are going to be able to see it?
Honestly, it didn't feel like it was actually coming out until I was at the premiere. And I was like, oh, this is an actual thing. People are actually like ready to watch this. And this is coming out. There's no going back. So yeah, and then this week has just been insane, you know. It's just like the countdown is really, really getting close.
Yeah, and it's always going to be like that. Premiere week is the big week, you know. There's so much happening. There's events, there's press. It's just all at once. When it rains, it pours, right? Let's be honest.
Of course. Honestly, I thrive in chaos, so this is great.
So do I, actually. Someone brought that up to me. You know what I mean? Like, I work in events as well in the past, and like, I love getting juggled a lot of things. I enjoy it. Absolutely. Your background is in dancing as well, right?
Yes, yeah.
There is a lot of that kind of what you said, too, about the chaos of the routines and everything. That makes sense a lot, too, right?
So much chaos, especially just like in film and TV as a dancer, like the constant changes on set and adjustments that you're making. And I don't know, you got to like dodge a camera half the time. So yeah.
I'm curious. I will ask you about the audition process for this because I find that so interesting. But before we get to that, when you kind of book the role and it's like official that you're going to work on Grease: Rise of the Pink Ladies, are you starting to think about the fact that you're in like a unique situation because there's familiar territory where Grease is like one of the greatest musicals of all time, but then unfamiliar because it's a prequel and we don't know a lot of these characters? Like, I feel like that's an interesting situation for you as a storyteller with this project because we know a lot, but we don't know anything at the same time.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I watched the movie over and over and over again before the audition, even after after the audition, after I booked it, just to make sure I was like in the Grease headspace, but also going into this, like, this is a new series with new stories, characters that we know, or like, you know, kind of like storylines that we know, but still brand new. So making sure that, I mean, we're obviously like hailing to the original story, but also wanting to create original content at the same time.
And it's such a cool thing because I feel like there's so many questions when you kind of book it and you go start, because it's like, who are the characters? Are they related to anyone? Is it just their own thing? And it's just kind of Rydell High. Like, those were all the questions. Like, I remember when this show was announced, and I had all those questions. So I can't even imagine being someone that's going to be working on it. How many questions do you have? I'm sure you had a lot of questions and kind of, yeah.
Yeah, a lot, yeah. And I mean, Olivia and Isabel were amazing. They had meetings with every single one of us and went through our characters. And I was like, who are their parents? How was she brought up? You know, I just wanted to know everything. And then on top of that, the cast, we all had our own individual meetings of like, what's on my relationship with you? Everyone from like Socias to Pinks to T-Birds to the Thespians, the Wallflowers. Like, we wanted to make sure that like this was a real world that people were stepping into.
Is your character mean or misunderstood or a bit of both?
Mean.
I was waiting for you to defend your character. I'd be like, well, maybe there's a little bit more. No, she's mean. She's a mean girl.
She's just a mean girl. I think, you know what though? My theory is like, if there's a bully, somewhere that bully is being bullied somewhere else.
Yes, I agree with that. And that's where the misunderstood thing I said comes into play. Absolutely. We kind of don't waste time with your character as well. We meet your character and we kind of feel like we know a lot about this character right away, if you think about it.
Yeah, she comes in hot. And she really is just like immediately, because like Susan's like her best friend, and immediately she's like, I want to mess with Susan. And that's like the first thing that she announces she's going to do, which, yeah, says a lot about her. And then just like, you know, the Socias running around in the drive-in, it just shows the relationship between these are the Socias and this is the rest of the kids of the Pinks, and how they're related, which I think they did such a good job tying that into the first number.
And it's interesting because so Paramount was nice enough to kind of give us a little taste a couple of weeks ago where they actually put the whole number out. The Grease is the World number was available to watch. And when people watch the show, that is kind of one of the first things we kind of see in episode 1 that kind of introduces everything. And I have to tell you, one of my favorite things about Grease Rise of the Pink Lady, Charlotte, that's one of my favorite things, is this is a TV show, but this is so cinematic. Like it's so incredible to me how this looks. Probably one of the greatest color palettes of a television show I've ever seen. What was that like, kind of just seeing everything, specifically with that number, just seeing everything?
It was crazy. Honestly, like for 7 months, I just like lived in the 1950s with like beautiful color palettes, beautiful outfits. Everyone was really in line with each other when it came to everything. And I think you'll see that like throughout the series, like you'll see just like the opposites, or like sometimes everyone's matching, and like no, it was amazing. And I remember the first time I got to go and like look at the screen, the first time I watched the playback, and I was like, this is insane. Like, this looks so good.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I'm telling you, like, I can't wait for people to see it, because when I watched it, and you had your premiere recently, so I can't even imagine seeing it on the big screen.
It was so, I was like, I am giant right now. But it looks so, I was like, this is meant to be on a big screen. It looks so good. Yeah.
Okay. Audition process. So, what can you tell me? Did you like audition for a few roles? Like, what song did you have to sing a song? What song did you sing? Kind of tell me about the audition process for this, because I find that very interesting, because there's a lot with this project. There's the dancing, the singing, the acting, right? So what was that whole process like for you audition wise?
Yeah, so I got a call to audition originally for Susan.
Okay.
And so I sent in my tape. I sent in a song. I sang Happier by Olivia Rodrigo, and the dance audition tape. So it was like you have one, not even like a week, maybe a week. No, definitely less than a week to like put 3 tapes together and send this off. And then I got notes back from the director. And then so I took those, worked with the casting director, and then I had a Zoom call back with Olivia and Isabel and the casting directors, and which was amazing. I was so nervous because of COVID, it's been a really long time since I've like been in the room, and actually working on it. But it was more like a workshop. Like they really just wanted to work with you and wanted you to do the best you could. So afterwards, I was like, okay, this is really great. I also auditioned for Linda, which is a character that ended up getting scrapped. She was also a socialite. And then they had in-person dance auditions. So they flew out to Vancouver. They were here. I went into the in-person dance auditions, and I remember like so many people there were just wearing all black. And I wore this like really bright cardigan with like toucans on them. And Olivia to this day, she's like, I'll never forget that sweater. You just like popped out. And at the end of that day, I got a call from them saying, we want you to read for Rosemary, like straight to Zoom call back. We think this is the right fit. As soon as I got the sides for her, I was like, oh, like this is it. Like I love her. I love her. She's kind of like Susan, but also is like kind of crazy. And I'm like, this would be really fun to do. So I auditioned for Rosemary. I got put on hold for her. Nothing. This is over like 2.5 months too. So this is like a really long, just like waiting for the phone call. And then I think it was right after Christmas, a little bit before New Year's. And then I got the call that I had booked it. And, Alethea was really sweet. She told me, she's like, we knew we wanted you in the series. We just didn't know where to put you. And so we kind of like scrapped Linda, or like you absorbed Linda, which is very Rosemary of her, and just created this role around the way that you did your audition. And we just like created this role, which I was like, wow, thank you. So yeah, that was the audition process.
It's so interesting, because I feel like that's one of my favorite questions I ask, because it's always different. Like I never have, like that is your audition answer question. Like no one else has that.
No. nobody else went through, yeah. So it was fun. Like the first day we were like had our first rehearsal, we all talked with all the cast. I was like, so what was your process like? And everyone had like a 20-minute story.
Well, I think that just kind of speaks to the nature of how dynamic and complex storytelling is. I mean, you can prepare all you want, but like maybe you know what to expect, but curveballs are always going to be thrown at you. I feel like that's just life as well, right? If you think about it.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Which is interesting. You had did you all have like a lot of conversations about, because you said like you watch the Grease movies and everything, but were there a lot of like conversations like on set about like the Grease movies at all, or like did a lot of people know about them before? Did you guys have any like Grease watch parties as a cast? Like did any of that happen?
Actually, we didn't have any Grease watch parties, which actually seems really crazy. But we were all watching at home, like alone. Well, and also this was like COVID was still quite a thing, so we weren't really able to huddle together and watch a lot of stuff together because we had to be really safe.
Yeah.
So there was that. But I know that Ari was watching Grease almost every night when we first started. Something crazy like that. They were watching it a lot. I watched it. I tried to watch it as much as I could. And then we also had this saying on set was called Grease energy. So we'll like, when we do a take, it's like, okay, let's do like a really grounded take. Let's do that. Okay, now let's do like a whatever, try something super random. Okay, now let's do a Grease energy take. And it's just like this like doo-wop, happy, super high energy, hyper, kind of version. And we did that for acting and the dance numbers as well.
Absolutely. Is there a character from the Grease movies that you relate to specifically that you think you're similar to, like Charlotte Kavanagh is? Not Rosemary, but like, is there a character that you relate to from the Grease movies?
I relate to. I feel there's a character who I love so much. It's kind of random. Okay, so she is Blanche. She's played by Dottie Goodman. She is Miss McGee's assistant. And she's just like Miss McGee's like I don't know, hype man, pretty much. Okay. And she's just there for her.
I want to stop you right there. Because like I'm talking to your other cast members about this as well. And like I plan on bringing that question up. I don't think anyone's gonna top that answer because I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of Daddy Zuko's and Sandy's. That is like, it's over. Like that. Like,
well, there's the scene where it's at the pep rally and the coach is talking about like, we're gonna rip the other team. And she's in the back and she's like, yeah, like I just think she's so funny and just I absolutely love her. And every time
because you know how it is, right? You plan those questions and then you just maybe assume because they're in the movie a lot. Not anyone's fault, but like people are gonna say like Sandy and Rizzo, right? Because they're in the movie a lot and that's what they think of. But that was
I'm not cool enough to be a Rizzo. I'm not cool enough to be Rizzo.
It's pretty crazy because I was talking to Cheyenne about this. I mean, I like Frankie Valli's Grease song. That's like probably one of my favorite songs of all time. Like, really? Oh yeah, 100%. I'm kind of like one of these, like my music taste is literally all over the map because when I was younger, I was a concert promoter and everything. And you book so many different artists. So you get access to all these different musics. But I would say like that song from the intro, like the cartoon intro, the original Grease, that's like one of my favorite songs of all time. So when I found out you were doing a new version of Grease of the World for Pink Ladies, I was super pumped about it because it's one of my favorite songs, not just Grease songs. It's one of my favorite tunes. I love that tune.
Yeah, we were so happy that we got to do at least one of the songs from the original. Because I mean, and then it's the opener and we use it in our opening. It's perfect. And I think they did a really wonderful job recreating it. Yeah. And everyone's voices are insane.
And I can't wait for people to see it premiering tomorrow, April 6th, which is crazy. And then weekly releases. So they're going to have to do the traditional way. And there's like, it's so crazy how like there's like the week to weeks and the binge. I can't keep up. It's like
I know. You know what though? I think that the show is meant to be.
It is 100%, 110% agree with you, 100%. And I want people. The first episode is a big one, and it's incredible. So I really would like people to kind of enjoy it and let it sink in a little bit. You know what I mean? If you like, and then talk about it for a week and then get back into it. I think that's the best way to go, because I love the series is fantastic, but the whole I love the series. I love that first episode. I mean, it's very incredible how it is. It's just
it's so good. I mean, they did such a good job introducing all the characters, and also there's so many nods to the original movie in it.
Yeah, but that feels, the first episode feels like a movie.
It does. A lot of the episodes do. It feels like short films.
No, I'm so happy for you and the cast. This is fantastic. Charlotte, thank you so much for your time. It was great chatting with you.
Yeah, it was so nice chatting with you too.
Your Instagram account, is it just your name?
It is Charlotte Kavanagh.
Well, it is Charlotte Kavanagh.
It is. That's you gotta say it like it is Charlotte Kavanagh. That's how you do.
Awesome. Well, this has been Popternative. YouTube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. You can, of course, catch Charlotte Kavanagh as Rosemary in Grease, Rise of the Pink Ladies, premiering April 6th on Paramount Plus. Until next time, this is Charlotte and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.